I'm going to tell you a story. And it starts in New Orleans where drinking happens. So, I grew up in New Orleans. And you know what, I think back to parents. Like, now, you're invincible as a kid, right? You know everything. You're going to live forever. You're untouchable. You're unstoppable. And I think about parents raising children in a city like New Orleans, where when I was growing up, the drinking age was 18, which meant you had a fake ID by 15. And their drinking and driving was legal, and you could take a to-go box, right? So you could drive up to a bar. My favorite was Miss May's 2 for $1 on Thursdays. And you could get a 75-cent drink and get 2 for $1. And take them out and put one in the cup holder, one in your hand while you drive to the next bar. You could also drive through at the daiquiri shop, and you could order a large 32-ounce DOA, dead on arrival, with an extra shot for $1. Okay? Now, you know, when you're kids, you do the thing like, I'm spending the night at her house, and I'm spending the night at her house, and then you just stay out all night because nothing closes. So you got a fake ID when you're 15. You could walk out of a bar at 10:30 and people are in the morning and people are already going to work or at work for a couple hours, right? So think about it. I mean, now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I owe my parents big time. Right? So here I am. I'm 16 years old in New Orleans. I've got my fake ID. And my parents were out of town, so that's just carte blanche. I don't even need to make up an excuse at this point. And I had been dating a guy for forever, which sounds crazy, but you know, I've known him since 1st grade. When we first met eye contact across the room in 1st grade. It was instant love, you know, however you define that at age 6. And then our parents knew each other, so we were predetermined to be married. Like, it was just whenever we started dating, we dated each other. We actually traveled with each other's families even. So this is like, it was like an arranged marriage almost. And he was very charming and very charismatic and very handsome, and he was an asshole. And those things sometimes really come together. And so, you know, because we're teenagers and we're so mature and we know everything about quality relationships and how to make them work, we fought, right? And we fought really badly one time. And we got into a huge fight that I was done. I broke up with him. He broke up with me. I don't remember who broke up first, but we both had to announce that I break up with you, and I denounce you and throw you out. And so my parents are out of town. I'm going to go to the French Quarter, and I'm going to go hang out, because it's ladies' night at Deja Vu down in the corner. Great music. Got dressed up. 2 of my girlfriends came out with me. We go into the corner. I'm wearing a cute skirt, a beret, because those were kind of hot at the time. I won't say my age, because, you know, the beret already dates me. But, you know, it was like, you know, skirt and sweater and a little beret, feeling sassy. And, you know, with my friends, and their parents are not out of town. They do have a curfew, a personal curfew set by their parents. And I'm hanging out at the bar, and in walks this guy. And he is very handsome. Muy attractivo. Like, he is just, you know, to a 16-year-old, when you meet a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old guy who is a model for Calvin Klein, at least that's what he told me, right? He looked like it. And he flies airplanes, because that's what he told me. And I'm 20, according to my fake ID, so, and my name is Pam, according to my fake ID, who is my sister, you know, took her birth certificate and baptismal certificate to go get the fake ID. So, you know, you know, they say the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, so I'm really sitting in the bar thinking, and he's hitting on me, and meanwhile, I'm not realizing that my friends, I'm not really paying attention to them anymore. He asked me, do you want to go to the bar next door? We can continue our drinking and our talking, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. So we go over there, I tell my friends, yeah, I'm going to be next store. And finally, after a little while, I start realizing that maybe I should go back. And so I go back and I look at my friends, and they're gone. And they get in their car, and they leave, but my purse is in their car with everything I own, except for my fake ID and $4 in my hand, because I don't even have pockets, in my cute skirt and sweater and beret. So now I'm walking around, like, kind of dependent on the Calvin Klein model who flies airplanes. And we're talking, and he's getting a little hot and heavy, and he says, you know, why don't I give you a ride home? You know, I'll just take you home, that's all good. I don't even have keys to get in my home. My parents are out of town, so they can't let me in. So I'm thinking, wow, all right, I guess I'm kind of at the mercy of this guy a little bit, so yeah, maybe I can break in. I can climb the storm pipe up to the balcony and get in the balcony door. So I'm thinking, this is a great idea. I just maybe won't have him drop me off at my house, so he won't know exactly where I live. And we start walking in towards this car, and I'm thinking, God, he's a model for Calvin Klein. He flies airplanes. He's got to drive a Porsche, you know, or something. And we walk up to a serial killer van. It is one of these vans that I'm sure when you open it, the shag carpeting is heavily stained, and it has seen some action back in the 70s. It's one of those kind of, if the vans are rocking, don't come a knocking vans, but you may never see the light of day again if you get in this thing. And he's not walking me to the passenger side door. He's walking me towards the back of the van. So what do you think you do at that moment? You run, and you start running fast. And I ran really fast, and I ran back into the bar, and I'm like, but he knows this is where I'm going. So I run into another busier bar, and he walks in, and I'm sitting up, and I just start talking to people, like, hey, how's it going? I'm trying to stir up some people. And he comes in, he walks around, he eventually kind of takes off. I think she's with people, this one's not going to work out. So the quarter starts slowing down, and things start getting really quiet. Now, has anybody been to the French Quarter in New Orleans? Yeah, right? It's not like wide open, spacious. The streets are narrow, alleys are narrow, the walls are tall, there's glass and barbed wire on top. You don't just like, you can't see around corners there. It's kind of mysterious and a little bit spooky, especially when you're by yourself, and you just had serial killer Calvin Klein model guy working with you here, that you're not sure where you're going to go. So I'm thinking, where can I hide out that I'm going to be a little bit safe? Because everything's emptying out. There's no crowds anywhere. And bars, while they will stay open, as soon as they're dead, they shut the doors, right? So I head out towards the river, because the best place to go is the river walk. I'm thinking, Cafe Du Monde's open forever. I'm going to go have some beignets. I got at least a few bucks. I'm going to sit here, and I get change, because this is pre-cell phone. This is payphone. And there is no storing all your numbers in your phone, and there's no press speed dial. If you don't have that paper phone book with you, it's all got to come out of your head. So how many phone numbers do you remember of people you can call at 2 in the morning when your parents aren't home? And the first person who you think you're going to call, the ex-boyfriend. So I'm on the payphone, out by the river walk first. I'm like, I'm going to call them. First I'm calling friends. The friends who took my purse. I knew their number. Where the hell are you? Voice machine, actual tape recording. Where the hell are you? I've got my purse, I can't get in my house, what am I going to do? I'm stranded out the French Quarter. That quarter's gone. So each time I make a call, and it ends with no one talking to me, another quarter dwindles away. So I'm sitting there going through it, I'm like, oh my God. It's actually a blessing if no one answers and there's no answering machine, because you save your quarter and you get it back, right? But everybody's got an answering machine. So then you got to start thinking strategically, how the hell am I going to get home? And so I started calling the boyfriend, leaving him hate voicemails. Okay, I'm stranded. I know you're an asshole, but I really need you right now. I'm a bitch, you're an asshole. Can we just get over it? Can you pick me up and give me a ride? And then we can talk about it later. No answer to voicemail. So that's when I go to Cafe Du Monde. I'm going to sit and have some beignets. Again, money. Only had about $4. quarters. Thank God beignets were like $1.50 for 3 at the time, and a cup of coffee is 50 cents, right? It's totally cheap. But again, quarters going in the machine. I go back out to the riverfront. Where do you go? The Riverwalk, at least you're standing out by the river and you can see what's around you. There's some shadowy spots, there's some dark spots, but there's actually streetlights out there. So finally I just sit on this park bench right next to the payphone. The payphone's here. I'm just sitting right here and I'm trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do. And up, I see this guy kind of walking towards me, really distinguished guy. You know, really clean-cut hairdo, very well coiffed. He's got a really nice suit on. He's walking along, he's even got a cane. He looks like quite the gentleman. And he slowly walks around and he comes up and he sits down. He said, "How are you doing?" I said, "You know, I'm doing great." And we start to talk, and he seems like a really calm and trustworthy guy. And so I tell him a little bit about what my dilemma is. Now, he didn't offer me a ride. He didn't offer me, to take me anywhere. He just pulled out his checkbook and pulled off a gold embossed check and took the phone number and address and said, "Here, I want you to have this information so that if you get into any kind of trouble tonight, you can call me. You will have a place to stay." I'm like, wow, I feel really safe right now because in this time that I'm talking to this guy, everybody else is going to leave me alone. And so he starts walking away, and as he's walking down with his cane down the levee, and he's heading out towards a gravel parking lot, I see this woman walking by in a really short mini skirt and a sequin tube top and a feather boa. Walking by, kind of making eye contact. He's making eye contact. I kind of see this. And then I see her keep walking on while he slowly keeps strolling along with his cane. And the next thing you know, you see like an Impala, like a dark green tank of a car, an old like 70s Impala. She's driving, and she pulls up, and he gets in, and all of a sudden they floor it. The car's like this bouncing tank, heading straight for me, gaining speed as fast as they can. And they pull up right in front of me. He opens the door, and he gets out, and he says, "Get in the car." I looked at it, and I turned and I ran. And I started running, and he is chasing me now. And this is a great escape. I am running, and I am in heels and a little skirt and a beret and a sweater. And I am running still with fake ID in hand, because those aren't easy to get. And I am like running as fast as you can, and I can actually feel his hand in the small of my back reaching, trying to grab me as I am sprinting down the wooden planks of the Riverwalk in heels. And so I'm running as fast as I can. I can still feel him. I can still feel him. And it is like at any second I am going to be gone. And so I see a group of people about my age sitting up in a circle on the Riverwalk ahead of me. And you know when stuff just clicks into gear? I ran up, I sat down, and I said, "My name is Susan, go." That's all I had time for. And they immediately were just like, "Susan, we haven't seen you in forever. How you been?" I'm just, things are great. I'm having a great night tonight. Where y'all been? Y'all went out. The guy walks around, sharks the circle. Dun, 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 dun. And he's totally sharking the circle for the longest time. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and waiting. And they're still talking. And we're hanging out. And then finally he goes away. I'm like, but is he really gone? I mean, this is his neighborhood. Right? He runs this thing. He's got people with eyes everywhere. So what am I going to do? I'm like, I am safe though. I got a group, and they're like, yeah, let's go and just hook up with us. Stay with us. You are safe with us. You're our friend tonight. Don't worry. We got you covered. I'm like, cool, safety. So we go walking deeper into the French Quarter. I'm like, oh, I got my buddies. Thank God. There is a God. And we get to a car, and they're like, this is our car, and we don't have room for you. And they all piled in, and they're all sitting in each other's laps, right? Oh, we hope you have a great night. And they shut the door. And now I'm like back deep in the French Quarter by myself with a fake ID and about 50 cents now. All I can think to do, it's like, where do you go? I already found the safest place. And I go back there. because I'm 16 and I don't think clearly, right? I'm invincible, I don't know, where do I go? I'm going to go to where there's light and there's space where I can see stuff. And I go right back out to the riverfront. And I'm sitting out there, and I keep trying to call. I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And so I finally moved to a different part of the bench because that guy knows that I'm coming here to use the payphone. I'm going to go sit somewhere else. And I sit down on a bench, and at this point, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm just kicking back on this bench. It's about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning by now, and next thing I know, I'm hearing a train going by, and it's kind of daylight. The sun is up, and I'd fallen asleep on this bench, and I just kind of cracked my eyes, and I couldn't even stay awake. I mean, I was just that wiped out from it all. And so I go back to sleep, and I kind of pass out until I feel this on my shoulder, and I wake up, and there's a security guard standing there. And he says, somebody has been watching out for you tonight. Because look at those thugs over there. They have been on this riverwalk all night watching you, and there have been enough flow of tourists walking by to keep them from snatching you out of your sleep and taking you away. So you've got to call somebody right now and find a ride home. The ex-boyfriend came and picked me up. He turned out to be the one who saved me at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And he brought me to go to the friend's house who had my purse, shoo them out, grab my keys, get me home, take care of me, put me back to bed, make everything all right. So we got back together. It turned out that all was good and right in the world, but man, talk about people looking out for you, and that was like the ultimate of great escape.